Look, it's a wool carder bee gathering fibers from a lamb's ear plant. She is a solitary bee and will use this soft fiber to create cells in her nest in a hollow plant stem. She's one of many pollinators who visit the Garden City pollinator habitat or make their home there. My name is Judy Snow. I'm going to share with you how this beautiful, bountiful, and educational garden came to be. There will be resources listed at the end of the video. In 2015, when Save the Bees had become a rallying cry across the country, many researchers, organizations, and individuals were working to find solutions to protect and support not only honeybees, but all pollinators, as their natural habitats were being lost to agriculture and the growth of cities. One of those individuals was Phyllis Stiles. Phyllis started an organization called Bee City USA, whose purpose was to encourage the planting of pollinator habitat by city and county managers, highway departments, parks, golf courses, colleges, homeowners, and anyone willing to plant for pollinators in the many green spaces of our cities. Armed with this information, the Chinden Gardeners Club approached the city of Garden City with an offer to plant a beautiful garden for pollinators near the city hall and at no cost to the city, if Garden City would become a Bee City USA. As a Bee City USA, the city would agree to plant more pollinator-friendly areas and reduce pesticide use. Garden City accepted the offer, and the project was on its way. The available space was about 4,000 square feet of rocky, poor soil covered in weeds. To get the project started, the city scraped off the weeds, spread some topsoil, and piped water to the area. The next step was to solarize the soil. Solarization can kill weed seeds up to 12 inches deep in the soil, which would help with the biggest maintenance challenge ahead, keeping the garden hand-weeded. No chemicals of any kind would be used in the garden. So with the first monetary donation of $250 from the Greater Boise Rotary Club, 4 Chinden Gardeners Club members pinned plastic over the entire space and put up a sign asking people to please keep off. Solarization ideally takes 1 to 6 months, but this plastic stayed down until planting times. Now, while the solarization was doing its job, it was time to search for funds. Chinden Gardeners Club members applied for a $26,000 grant from the Idaho Women's Charitable Foundation, using the grant application itself to determine how much money would be needed. Funds from the grant would pay for pathways through the garden, interpretive signs, plant signs, hundreds of perennial plants and shrubs, irrigation, landscape boulders, community education, and 2 stone signs identifying both the garden and the major donors. The grant application process helped the club members create a workable plan for all aspects of the project, and that plan enabled the project to go smoothly to completion. The design itself was guided by basic pollinator garden principles. 1. Provide blooms for all seasons. 2. Plant multiples of the same plant in groups or swaths. 3. Include native plants to support native pollinators. 4. Provide plant diversity to attract pollinator diversity. 5. Provide water for pollinators. And 6. Avoid bark mulch to provide habitat for ground nesting solitary bees. Plants were also placed close together and drip watered individually to help keep down weeds. While waiting for news of the grant award, a plan for funding for future garden maintenance was put in place. A brochure and order form was created for donors to purchase personalized bricks that would be placed in the center walkway of the garden. A few bronze plaques and signs were also available for donors who wished to make greater contributions. When the Idaho Women's Charitable Foundation announced the grant award winners, the Garden City pollinator habitat was not among the awards, but was in the top 3 choices. That encouraged the Chinden Gardeners Club to apply again the next year. But because a plan was in place, it turned out that there was no need to wait for the grant funds, as donors came forward to help get the project started. The City of Garden City offered to pay for the east side path construction and irrigation. Far West Landscape was hired for the job, and they donated their labor. When it was completed, the Chinden Gardeners Club and friends planted about 50 plants that were also donated by Edwards Greenhouse, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and Idaho Botanical Garden. A truckload of compost was donated by Far West Landscape and was used both to improve the soil and as mulch. When it was time for the second grant application, since the project had already begun with donated funds and labor, the amount needed was less. Also, a professional rendering of the project had been donated by Brecken Land Design and was included in the application. This time, a grant of $21,500 was awarded to the Chinden Gardeners Club, enabling the club to finish the project. Over 100 different perennial plant species were planted in groups of 3 to 6, totaling about 350 plants. The following spring and summer attracted an enormous variety of pollinators where there were formerly none. If you build it, they will come. While the garden was being completed, education was also happening. Talks were given at schools, clubs, and civic organizations about how to help pollinators. A lecture series was instituted and held at the Garden City Library, and a pollinator celebration was held each year with films, booths, activities, and garden walks. The mosaic bee at the garden entrance was donated by a member of the Junior League as a thank you gift for a pollinator talk given to their club. And of course, the garden itself was and is educational. The Chinden Gardeners Club was also able to create a small, spiral-bound book titled 100 Treasure Valley Pollinator Plants, using leftover funds from the Idaho Women's Charitable Foundation grant, with their permission. In addition to funds from the grant, the project brought in many donations from people and organizations wanting to help. Some of special note are the table and trash can donated by the Greater Boise Rotary Club, the Monarch Way Station sign donated by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the stand for the main interpretive sign given by a private donor. The solitary bee houses were built by Kobe Clothier, and the water features were made by Keaton Kessler as their Eagle Scout projects. The Foothill School of Arts and Science 4th and 5th grade classes helped with planting, and the New Roots Summer Camp spread one of the truckloads of compost, which was used as mulch. I hope you will be inspired by this project to create pollinator habitat wherever you are. The experience was both educational and inspirational. There was enormous support from the community, and the Garden City Pollinator Habitat continues to delight and inspire all who visit. It is maintained by the Chinden Gardeners Club and is always open and free to the public, so please visit often and enjoy the many flowers and pollinators.